A subscriber who's been commenting on my videos since the very beginning of the channel asked for an update on some of the projects that I'm working on currently. And that's kind of a hard one for me to talk about because I kind of feel weird just listing off like here's my day-to-day things. I'm not some celebrity. I don't know who would care about like a video diary of what I do on a day-to-day basis. So instead, what I'm going to do is kind of present it as like an educational opportunity. Because I know a lot of people watching this channel are possibly interested in someday going off grid or moving very rural. And there's a lot of like preppers and survivalists that are interested in this lifestyle. So it's not so much important when you watch this channel of what I do on a day-to-day basis. What's more important is what principles and knowledge can you take from it to then apply in your own life, in your own situations. So a priority right now for me is building some kind of overhang shelter for firewood. Because when I first got here, this was my first winter, and I got late enough in the season that I didn't have any good firewood seasoned. And even once I had the wood burning stove installed in the cabin, it was a nightmare because I just didn't have any good wood to use. And it's not only being able to keep your wood dry, but you also need the knowledge of the different species because some, like a lot of this pine that's out here, it catches pretty easily, but it doesn't burn long, maybe an hour or so. So um, that's fine for during the daytime when you can just keep feeding the fire throughout the day. But you really want to set aside some like good all-nighter logs for before you go to bed, kind of thing. So a place to keep the wood dry and the knowledge of the different species in their burn rates. The insects, I mean, we all know there's no way, there's no amount of bug spray you can put on that's going to help you when you're out in a wooded environment like this. It's just what you really need is some kind of screened in area. Now, I don't see a ton of screen rooms around here, and I think that's because most people just have air conditioning. So if their house is air conditioned, they want to get away from the bugs, they just go in the house. But without an air conditioned cabin, it would be nice to have some screen room set up so I can eat outside and read, play guitar, whatever it is you want to do without being just ruthlessly attacked by the bugs. And it'd be nice to run a little bit of electricity out to it so you can plug in your phone or whatever while you're out there. We've we've got deer flies out here real bad, which are they're about the same size as a common house fly, but they just relentlessly bite your head and shoulder area like a horsefly does. And you all know that nobody loves animals and nature as much as I do, but those deer flies, I'm completely on board with the extinction of those little monsters. I also want to get a chicken coop put up for obvious reasons. I mean, some backyard poultry is really one of the biggest steps towards self-sufficiency, in my opinion. Shade is a big deal. I have like Rubbermaid containers for putting my clothes in that, which is great because I can keep stuff outside. And I had elected to go with ones that were clear so I can see the contents inside, like there's my pants, there's my shirts, whatever. The only issue with that is some of them have gotten sun damaged just from the sun hitting them to where I've got like shirts that'll have a white stain on them from it, that permanent. That's fine. I can still wear them around here, but just they're no longer good for wearing out in the town in public. And even like my chair I sit in is starting to deteriorate big time because the metal frame itself is holding up, but the cloth seat, just from being hit by the sun every day, is really falling apart now and So, there's another lesson. I mean, things don't last forever. If there's a product you've got that you really like, you have extras of it on hand ready to go, because everything breaks, everything falls apart eventually. There's nothing that lasts forever. And even like when I build things, I kind of build them. I don't want to build a structure that's going to last forever, like the Roman aqueducts or something. It's I build it with the intention that eventually things are going to fall apart on it, and I want to be able to repair it and fix it when need be. And I'm working on the cabin. I've had some setbacks lately. There's just tons of things going on. I've got a plant, getting seed in the ground. I've had some bad luck with my vehicles lately. Weather's not cooperating. It's just is what it is. But I'm working on getting to that finished, and I really want to get a more permanent solar power system set up. Not a super huge system, but just enough to say power. I did build a location for a very small 5,000 BTU air conditioner into the cabin. So I probably wouldn't even bother running it during the hot of the day because I'm not in there. I'm out doing stuff. But on those nights where it takes a long time to cool off, maybe fire that up an hour or two before bed so it'd make it a little bit easier to sleep with. If I can run that, and then a small fridge. I was looking at the big box store. They don't have. I don't really want the little small like dorm room fridges. Like I've had those when I was in school, and they don't hold much. But they have ones that are about 4 feet tall, and I was thinking that's about perfect. Fit just enough in there without being the major power draw that a full size fridge is. That, and in the storage locker, I've got a chest freezer, medium sized one. So there's just a handful of things like that if I can get that powered off of solar, just that, it would make my life so much better than like using a cooler. That's getting old quick here. But yeah, shade is a big deal. Not only does it damage your stuff, but it's hot out in the sun, right? I mean, you work out in the sun, it beats down on you, it takes its toll. I have to be careful during the hottest part of the day not to do. I'll generally stop working for the day because I don't want to get heat stroke out here. It wasn't like my old place. I could work out in the sun, but then you go back inside to the air conditioning and grab a freeze pop out of the freezer or something and cool off. But I don't have those luxuries now. So I got to be a little bit more careful about working during the hot parts of the day. And that's why there's a bunch of trees here. I'm not really in a hurry to chop down because they provide shade and help keep it cool here for me, and allow my stuff to stay shaded that I need, your water and things like that. Now, what kind of time frame am I going to get these projects done on? I really can't say. I mean, it's been a really humbling experience being out here, just realizing how long everything takes, working with the cycles of nature, and just not having running water and electricity and all these things that make life so much easier. Without that, even the littlest of things take so much time. And a lot of times I get really discouraged because I'll be busy all day doing things. And when it gets to the end of the day, I feel like, man, I didn't even get anything done today. It feels like. So it's tough. Um, I went into this like, yep, in my first year out here, I'm going to get all these list of things taken care of and done. And now looking at it, it's like, well, it's going to get done when it gets done. I mean, it's to get set up nicely in a new property takes years and years of time. Um, just you can't have too high of expectations, and you can't just push yourself to death either. I mean, I know it's a whole big thing out there, get out there and kill it. They call it the grind set, of just working hard every day and getting as much done as possible. But I've done that in my life. I've worked 70-hour weeks at work for years, decades, And man, all it really does is lead to disappointment. You got to find other things in life too, rather than just hard work. I don't value myself as a person based upon the number of mundane chores I get done in a day. You know, there's just too much more to life than that. So we'll see. I hope that answered your questions, Alex. And anybody else has questions for things I'm doing out here, I'm happy to answer them. There's obvious things about like security and that I may not touch into because that's private. But beyond that, I'm happy to answer questions if it can educate somebody in some way and help you in your personal endeavors. So I'll see you guys in the next one.